So as we all know, it is the downtime period between the end of the BF6 beta and the release of Battlefield 6 in early October, and as is tradition, it is once again time to complain about certain aspects of Battlefield 6. As some of you may have seen over the past few days on Reddit and on other social media, the debate over open versus closed weapons in Battlefield 6 has started back up, and it is clearer than ever that people are not done with their 2 cents on this subject, and some people are not satisfied with how DICE and EA have handled this. So in today's video, I'm going to give my final say on what I think they should do when it comes to the weapon/class system in Battlefield 6. And I'm going to bring up some key points that I've seen that are just really irritating when it comes to this conversation. A lot of people are gatekeeping, a lot of people are trying to push the goalposts, and I'm fucking tired of it. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and of course leave a comment on this topic. I'm sure there will be heated debate in the comment section, as there always is when anything regarding Battlefield 6 comes up. So I'm just going to start the conversation off like this. I played the Battlefield 6 beta for about 80 hours altogether, and I switched between the open weapon playlist and the closed weapon playlist. I'm going to state up front with I am not satisfied with their direction with the weapon system when it comes to offering multiple separate playlists to try to satisfy everybody. This is a topic where DICE simply needs to take a stand, and they're going to piss a lot of people off. Okay, it's just simple as that. I don't think offering separate playlists is a good enough solution. I think it splits the player base unnecessarily, and they need to take a stand on open versus closed. If they want to offer both open and closed weapon systems in Portal, they can do that just fine, but for the base game, there should only be one system available. Touching on my playtime in the Battlefield 6 beta between both of these playlists, I was really trying to pay attention to whether or not I noticed any significant or, I guess, noticeable differences between the way people play, whether or not there was an increase in teamwork, whether or not I saw more weapons versus other weapons, and other intricacies during gameplay. And the conclusion that I came to is I really didn't personally notice any massive, noticeable gameplay differences regarding teammate behavior, regarding really anything between the two playlists. One of the arguments that I keep seeing brought up is that the closed weapon playlist was night and day different. The teamwork was better. People were working together. You never even had to ask anybody to throw ammo or heal you or revive you. It was just some sort of tranquil, perfect experience. That is what I've seen a lot of people try to paint a picture of during this argument. That playing the closed weapon playlist versus the open weapon playlist was some sort of unforeseen Battlefield teamwork utopia. Once again, in my personal experience playing the BF6 beta and also playing previous Battlefield games with closed weapons, I did not experience this. In fact, I thought people played the exact same way. A difference that I personally experienced while playing closed weapons was, well, I couldn't use assault rifles on, say, support. So what did I do? I used the very powerful carbine weapons. And that pretty well did the job for me. Support, and I'll touch on this later in the video when I talk about specific classes, is easily the strongest class in the game next to assault. Another thing that I saw people bring up quite a lot of is the fact that people were concerned about, for instance, people camping on Operation Firestorm on the top of the towers with rocket launchers and snipers, or medics that have unlimited ammo, unlimited health, and snipers. This argument was brought up a lot, and once again, I have to say, I saw this maybe 3 times in the entirety of the beta, and I'm being a hand on my heart, genuinely. I saw it maybe 3 times. So the notion that this is some sort of widespread, completely broken class combination is utterly delusional. I do understand where people are coming from on this. I agree to a certain extent that having unlimited ammo and unlimited health with a sniper rifle is inherently kind of a bullshit combination, but on paper, the counter is, well, you just equip a sniper and shoot them in the face, and they die, right? Like, I played against this in 2042. People play Irish, and they sit behind shields, or people play Falc, and they sit on rooftops, and yeah, they're annoying. But if you kill them, well, they aren't recon, so they can't respawn there unless they're camping with their squad. And even if they can respawn there, it isn't really that much different when compared to just fighting, say, a normal recon player with a sniper rifle, because once again, if you're engaged in a sniper fight, the ultimate goal is to essentially just instantly kill your enemy by headshotting them. So in real terms of gameplay feel, it didn't feel that much different. And on top of that, like I said, it was extremely rare in my personal experience to see anyone trying to abuse the medic sniper ammo health combo. So all things considered, what do I think DICE should actually do regarding the weapon system / some of the class balance, which again, I'll get into a little bit later. I'll touch on the weapon system first. Once again, based on my personal experience playing every Battlefield ever made, Battlefield players are simply going to do their own thing. I do not believe the weapon system has a massive impact on teamwork. I did not feel it, and I continue not to feel it across multiple different titles, including Battlefield 6. So with that considered, I think what they should probably just do is satisfy people. They should at least meet them halfway. They should, at bare minimum, try to do the Battlefield 4 closed weapon system, which, for those of you that don't know, Assault has assault rifles, Engineer has SMGs, Support has light machine guns, and Recon has sniper rifles, and there are 3 all-class weapon types that are carbines, shotguns, and DMRs. So they could go that route. However, I think there are even further optimizations they could make to such a closed weapon system. In my opinion, what people want is actually quite strict closed weapons. Something along the lines of Battlefield 1 style, where they really did help define the class. And it is a well-known fact that the Battlefield 4 weapon system really made SMGs be underutilized. Off the top of my head, there is a data set out there that shows SMGs were only picked an abysmal 6% of the time. So I would actually like to see SMGs become an all-class weapon category. Then you could do something like tie ARs and shotguns to assault. You can have support have the LMGs. You could have engineers have carbines, and the recon class could have snipers and DMRs. This way, there is still an all-class weapon type. However, each class has an even more defined purpose when it comes to weapons. However, I don't think they're going to do this because I think people are overlooking. They have already specifically designed a bunch of different weapon signature traits for each class. I do not believe they are going to suddenly switch around a bunch of weapon categories and tie them to a bunch of different classes, because in my opinion, the signature weapon traits and all the other things they've done for the classes really outline their specific direction. So I think they are in some ways pigeonholed into that direction, and I don't anticipate them suddenly doing a big 180. So like I said previously, if they do decide to close the weapons and they make that decision, I think their most likely course of action is to go with the BF4 weapon system. Now, will they decide to close the weapons is another conversation. I don't think they will. In fact, I think the data will probably point otherwise. I think if I were a betting man, I would bet that the more popular playlist during the BF6 beta was the open weapon playlist. And internally, if that data is true, then I think they are just going to leave the open weapon system, and they're going to tank that outrage from the Battlefield community, the core Battlefield community on websites like Reddit and Twitter and wherever else. And they're just going to do it because they know the outside interest for Battlefield 6 likely doesn't care as much about the weapon system as the core Battlefield player base, and the outside interest likely also dwarfs the core Battlefield community's interest, even if BF6 will likely be the most popular Battlefield game since Battlefield 1. So it's definitely a very complex topic. At the end of the day, I think what they should ultimately do is they should lock the weapons to a BF4 style system, call it a day, and if people continue to complain, then they can shut the fuck up. I'm sorry, but like that's where I'm at with this. I'm tired of seeing arguments about it. I don't think this is necessarily even as important as people are making it out to be. I understand for a lot of people this is part of the identity of Battlefield and all that sort of thing. On the other hand, I do think a lot of people are blowing it out of proportion because, once again, in my experience, playing the BF6 beta between both playlists and playing a ton of previous Battlefield games, it's not like open weapons drastically changed the gameplay when it comes to teamwork or anything like that. I certainly didn't experience that. I think the complaints about the open weapon system providing maybe some more irritating combinations that I touched on earlier in the video, such as unlimited health and ammo sniping, are more valid, but still questionable, because again, saw that maybe like 3 times. And then briefly touching on the class balance here, support was obviously one of the strongest classes in the game, if not the strongest class in the game, next to assault, which I'll touch on here. Support having access to unlimited health and unlimited ammo is, I think, fundamentally overpowered. However, one thing to consider, you can't just change it, because if you're just going to remove that, what are you going to do? Are you going to make Assault the medic class like we had in Battlefield 3 and 4? Well, you have to consider, once again, the signature traits and all these things DICE set up to try to define the classes have to change if you're going to make a large fundamental change such as that. Splitting the support class into the more traditional Battlefield style of there being one class that's the medic and one class that is support can't be easily done in BF6. There's a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of things that have to be moved around and changed in order to actually facilitate splitting support off into what it is traditionally seen as. Now, when it comes to Assault, the things that jump out to me are, number one, the health regeneration. I think that could do with just a nerf. I mean, you don't need to get rid of it. The health regen perk is what I'm referring to. Probably just nerf it. I don't know, make it 20%, 30%. I think right now it's 50%. Very, very strong. And then, of course, weapon sling. I mean, they're not going to remove weapon sling from the game, but they sure as fuck better remove the ability for shotguns to be equipped in the weapon sling. I know that much. Then when it comes to Recon and NG, I think NG repairs too fast, and Recon just has a lot of irritating perks that could be better communicated. For instance, getting headshots and you can't be revived anymore. I think they should probably just change the scope shine color slightly so you can read if a sniper has that perk unlocked so you can better play the situation. But other than that, I think the main classes they need to focus on are definitely medic or support and assault. Ultimately, we'll just have to wait and see what they actually do. I do want to see definitive action from DICE. I want it to be like no questions asked. They either have to keep it open or they have to keep it closed. I hope to keep it closed just so people can get what they want, and we'll have to see what happens. So if you enjoyed the video and you want to follow Battlefield 6, definitely subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for, once again, hitting 90,000 subscribers, barreling towards 100K. Thank you guys so much again. Be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment on your thoughts on this, and I stream every single day at twitch.tv/enders, first link in the description. I'll see you guys in the next video.